Okay. Otherwise it shuts off. All right, are we ready? So, now we can't take the rolling pin to this clay as it is. We're going to have to kind of push it down a little bit. So you're going to start just by using the palm of your hand to push this clay down just a little bit. Using your hand nice and flat. Roll it down, flatten it until it's about the thickness of your palm. Okay? So once you have it about that thick, then you can start rolling out the clay. Okay? So here's a trick. So when you're rolling out clay does not crack. It doesn't get cracks in it, and it dries nice and evenly. It dries beautifully, and it's structurally more sound if you can make the clay even thickness all the way through the slab. So we don't have thick spots, we don't have thin spots, it's even thickness. So I have these little slab sticks, and Mrs. Richardson just made me some new ones, and they smell like cedar. They're so beautiful. So there's two measurements to these slab sticks. If you put them this way, it will give you a 1/2 inch slab. If you put them the other way, it'll give you a 1/4 inch slab. So we want a 1/4 inch slab, so you put them that way, so the thicker part is facing up next to your clay, and then you can start rolling it out. Okay? So put your clay down, put your phones down. This is how we're going to make a lot of things this semester, and so I really want you to know how to roll out a good slab. Cover up your clay with your microfiber cloth if you're not using it so it doesn't dry out. Look up here and listen. Good? Cover up your clay. Cover up your clay. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to roll out this slab with the rolling pin now. You guys don't have handles on yours. I don't usually use the handles. I prefer to put pressure on it. Standing up, you're going to roll it out this way and that way. What the slab sticks are going to do is once you roll clay out, if you go off the edge like that, if there aren't any slab sticks there, you tend to get a spot here on the edge that's really, really thin. The slab sticks prevent you from getting any thinner than that. So you basically want your rolling pin to roll along these slab sticks so that your slab is even thickness all the way throughout, okay? Because even thickness dries better. So what's going to happen is the clay is going to stick to the canvas. You have to release it from the canvas. So if I can roll a great big giant slab like this. If I'm rolling a big slab, I'll just go like this and release it. But because it's so small, I'll just pick it up and flip it over and roll it this way. Okay, and you'll notice as I'm rolling, it's not going to get any bigger because it's stuck to the mat. So I have to release it from the mat in order for it to get bigger. Okay, now this clay is really hard, which is really great because when I pinch it, it's not leaving pinch marks. But when we get our new clay on Wednesday, it's going to be super soft. So anytime you touch it, you want to pick up your slab with fingers like this. Don't pick up your slab like this. You'll get finger marks in it. Pick it up like that. And be really gentle with it as you flip it, okay? If you want your slab to be round, basically we're going to be using some templates on this clay, so we want to make sure that we roll it big enough and we roll it square. So give it a little bit of a turn each time you roll, okay? So I'll roll, and it will stop getting bigger, so I'll flip it and turn it. Not worried about those cracks just yet. Flip it and turn it. If you do end up having an air bubble, you can see the air bubbles, and you can take your pin tool and poke them and pop them. You can actually see them popping out. There's one right there. Where's my clay tool? So I see an air bubble there. I'm just going to pop it and carry on. So now my slab is getting, I'll turn it, air bubble. So now I can hear my, it's not getting much bigger. It's rolling. You can hear that rolling on the wood. It's not getting any bigger because my slab is now the exact size of my slab sticks. Okay, so this is done. It's not going to get any bigger. If I want to, I can take those away and give it one more little roll, make it a little thinner if I want to. I need to wedge this a bit better. But I want to be careful at the edges that I lift my roller up. I don't go off the edge like that because then you'll get a thin spot. Okay? If your clay is cracked like that, you don't like that texture, you're going to take your rib and just rib the surface, and that will get rid of a lot of the cracks for you. You're just running that metal across the surface. Okay? So I have a handout for how to create these. Basically, it is a square. You guys see that? Yeah, you can see that. So basically what I did, you can make your own or you can borrow one of my templates. I've got lots of templates you can borrow. You can make your bowl any size, any shape that you want, big, small. You can make folded over edges. You can do whatever you want for size. So this guy here, basically what I did was I measured from the outside, I made a square, okay? And you guys know how to make a square from a piece of paper. You just fold the corner and then you cut off the extra. So this piece of paper here, okay, you fold over like that. You cut off the extra, it makes a square. So I made a square and then I measured from here to here on all four sides so that I could make a square in the middle. Okay? Once I made a square in the middle, and you can make an X through the middle so you know where the corners are, I measured out from the corners the same amount, so maybe that's 2 centimeters, and then I drew a line from the corner to the corner, and then I will use my scissors to take out the corners. So if you want to make one that's a different size than one of my templates, that's how you do that. You can make your own. And then we're going to put this onto the clay, and then these are going to get folded up and joined at the corners to make the folded bowl corners. Okay? So by taking that little triangle out of the corner, gives us an opportunity to pull that in, join, and make a bowl. Okay? That will actually hold things. So if you have a big square in the middle, then you're going to have a shallow bowl, right? Big square in the middle gives you lots of surface at the bottom, but it's not very deep, right? If you have a smaller square on the bottom and you have more on the side, you get a deeper bowl, okay? So if you would like to make one with folded corners, see how these ones fold over and they don't join perfectly, they're sort of folded over corners, then you can take this same template and instead of cutting out the corner, you just cut from the corner to the corner, and then when we fold this bowl, we bring it up and we overlap it, and you get that sort of scissor effect in the corner, and that will bring it up into a different kind of size or shape of bowl. You with me? So basically, I would like for you to make 2 bowls. And then once we're good at making bowls, we're going to make some cups. Okay? Same exact method, only it's a little bit more involved. So we'll get good at making bowls first. Then we'll make cups. So we have our slab. I'm going to make a little bowl. This guy right here. Okay? So there's a couple different ways to do this. I'm going to take my pin tool and I'm just going to really sort of rough in the shape here, making sure it fits. If it doesn't fit, if you roll out your slab of clay and you don't have enough clay, then you're going to have to wedge that clay and then roll it out again. Okay, so there is my shape. Then what I want to do is I want to do some texture. So these are my texture stamps. What do I want to do? Oh, I like this one. I might repeat that guy. too many stamps to pick from. There's a flower. There's a leaf. All right, so I'm going to take my stamps. Putting enough pressure on these so they'll actually make an impression in the clay. And then I want flower in the middle. Oh, this clay is stiff. And then I want okay, so there is my textures there. I would love for you to put textures on both sides of your stamps. So next step is to cut it out and then flip it over. There's my fettling knife. So this is the knife you're going to use to cut out your slab. Look up here and listen. It has a knife edge on one side and a dull edge on the other. So you're going to want to make sure that it's straight up and down when you cut it. It's not at an angle. And basically you're just going to cut it out. This clay that we're working with is super hard. It's not soft clay at all. Normally, if I were to roll out a slab of clay, I would let it sit for a good 20 minutes before I ever put any stamps in it or cut it, because this is leather hard. It's not taking a fingerprint at all, and it's going to hold its shape really well as well. So if the clay is really soft, you sort of do have to wait until it gets a little bit more leather hard to work with. So make sure that your knife is not angled at all. Okay. Now what do I do with this clay? I'm going to wedge that clay and put it back in the bag so that I can use it for another piece. But this is really hard. I'm throwing it away. All right, so now we have our texture on one side, being very careful. And you notice when I press those stamps in, I'm not even going halfway into the clay. If the clay is too soft, sometimes it will. So on the back side, I love this texture stamp. It's just some skulls. I'm going to roll some skulls into the back. I don't know why. And this, if I don't put too much pressure, it's not going to wreck the stamps I have on the other side. This is the bottom. So I've got some skulls there. And then last but not least, I'm going to use my signature stamp on the bottom. So that's my signature. Okay, so now some of these I might need to press a little bit more. Get some of those back. The other thing that might need to happen is you may have to see how much that shifted when I press the stamps in. Sometimes you need to recut. Okay, so I might need to recut. I'm not going to worry about it for this. So then that is our folded bowl. Tomorrow I'm going to show you how to bring these up and join them into the bowl. Okay, and there's two different ways to do that, so don't start that until we do it tomorrow. And then we can work on edges, you know, little flare, maybe putting some feet on them and that kind of thing. Okay, there's one more thing I want to show you. If you don't have textures here, or your texture stamps are not done, you can still do this project. Okay, so you can come over here. I brought out a whole bunch of textures there's stamps, there's letters. So you can take some of these textures. So even something as simple as this sticky mat, even your own sticky mat, if you put that on the clay and then use one of these rollers, you can end up with some pretty funky textures. There's a stamp. So you can borrow some of my textures over there. This is from, I don't know what this is from. I think this is from a piece of fruit. Okay. So you can roll all different kinds of textures. You could put strings in there. You can borrow my stamps, you can borrow my textures, or you can use your textures. At the end of class, we are going to put those in our humidor. I've got one that I made this morning. So basically what I'm going to do is take a piece of paper towel, put it on top of the one that's in there, and then just put that on top of the one in there. Okay? If you do end up making two today, that's how you store them so they don't stick together. Just a little bit of paper towel between them. But if they can just sit on the bottom of your humidor, even better. And then tomorrow I'll show you how to join them. That guy's falling apart. Okay? Sound good? So, there's a few things I want you to gather.